Hello, my name is Carson Abrahamson. This is my wall insulation mini design project. This is the problem I decided to go with, is a double paned window or a double paned wall, depending on how you look at it. Modeling the scenario as a thermal resistant network. Here I modeled it as a thermal resistant network. You can see we have R of the steel plate, R bar, R fiber, and R of the steel plate on their side. Here we calculate those resistances. Resistance to the steel plate here, resistance to the bar, and resistance to the fiber. Calculate the heat transfer rate. Here we calculate the heat transfer rate and it came to a total of 487.2 watts. Adjusting parameters to analyze the effects. The relationship between increasing fiberglass insulation thickness and heat transfer rate. As you can see from this graph, as fiberglass insulation thickness increases, heat transfer rate decreases. The relationship between increasing steel plate thickness and heat transfer rate. As you can see from this graph, there's a slight decrease in heat transfer rate as the steel plate thickness increases. Relationship between increasing temperature and heat transfer rate. In this graph, you can see that as the temperature rises, heat transfer rate also increases. Replaced insulation medium. Here I replaced the insulation medium with air. Air has a heat transfer rate of 0.03, and that gives us a total heat transfer coefficient of 584.64, which compared to our heat transfer rate of our fiberglass of 487.2, it's about 100 watts higher. Energy insecurity. Energy insecurity is a multifaceted problem that many individuals and family units face. It consists of the interplay between physical conditions of housing, household energy expenditures, and energy-related coping strategies. Hernandez. Single versus double pane windows. Single pane windows may be more affordable up front, however they do come with a weaker performance in comparison to double pane windows. The U.S. Department of Energy states that the house owners can save between $126 and $465 annually by replacing their single pane windows with double pane. Double pane windows are certainly more energy efficient than their single pane counterparts. You also have the extra perks of outside noise reduction, the UV filter, and reduced HVAC fees. That's from Window Whirl. Implications of insulation improvement. The scenario. With the cost of living rising substantially across the United States, more families are feeling the pressure and shame surrounding financial insecurities. This burden is much more than just not being able to afford trendy clothes or extravagant vacations. Many families are choosing to forego comforts in exchange for necessities like food and running water. What some might consider a necessity, others consider as something that they have to give up in order to eat or bathe regularly. The outcome. Both energy burden and fuel poverty ensue when energy expenditures exceed 10% of households' income. Recent data shows that the most U.S. households at or near the federal poverty line are significantly burdened by energy costs. That's from Hernandez. Insulation improvement is one way to improve the quality of life of those at or around the poverty line. When cost of living accounts for the majority of a household income, minimizing any of those costs, especially those that take up large percentages, can improve the financial status as well as the overall health and comfort of those struggling. Proposed redesign to improve the scenario. An increase in fiberglass insulation, since it is shown to improve insulation. A thicker steel plate, since it reduces heat transfer rate and thus does a better job of insulating. Insulation with a lower K value will improve the heat transfer rate. Double pane windows are preferable over single pane windows in regards to performance. That concludes my presentation.